What is going on, everyone? Thank y'all so much for tuning into this first episode of a podcast developed by myself and my brother, Paul Renee Jr. This is Beyond the Hustle. Welcome to the first episode. Applauses, claps all around.
All right, we made it.
Yeah, man. Years in the making.
It's been years I've been wanting to collab with you, Maestro. Daniel Tatterman, man. He's one of the best in the podcast game. I've been wanting to get his mentorship while we to do podcasts so we can talk about what really matters out here. This is the man, and I only surround myself with smart people, and Daniel Tatterman is one of the smartest when it comes to this. So I just want to give you an introduction, boy.
Man, I appreciate it, dude. This is Beyond the Hustle, and just in this pilot episode, man, we're just gonna really explain what our passion is and why we even wanted to do something like this, and why even call it Beyond the Hustle. And really, what a lot of us want to do, right, when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, we do a lot of things like that, and we want to take our visions and our dream. We want to move it beyond just a passion and beyond just something that we do on the side. We want to really make it something. And I think with a name like Beyond the Hustle, what that means and that speaks to is, you're taking it beyond just something that you do on a regular day to day. You're taking it just beyond a grind. And people talk about that, and that hustle and grind mentality was so prevalent, a few years back, and even now, that it's just, we got to be hustling. But how do we take it from just a hustle where we're just laboring and we're actually getting something from it, And Paul, man, you're a serial entrepreneur, bro.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I am. I don't see any way else of doing it other than working for yourself, especially if you have a hard working work ethic. You're a hard worker. Your work ethics is top of the line. When you've been employed, you've always seen how you can make adjustments or do things better. And you work a 9 to 5, but you're doing more than just a 9 to 5. You're taking work home with you. Why not take that same type of passion and ambition and do it for yourself, right? So yeah, I am a serial entrepreneur. I've always been a hard worker, and I've came up to the decision at a young age to work hard for myself. So yeah, that's right. You got it right there on the money, Daniel.
Yeah. I got a couple of talking points for us to go through out while we had this podcast. But random question I want to ask you, bro. I seen something online. I thought it was pretty funny, and I want to ask to you. So, all right. So, would you rather fight a chicken every single time you went to go start your car? So every time you went to your car, you had to fight a chicken, or would you want to fight a lion one time a year?
I probably would like to fight a lion one time a year, especially if I can, adjust the rules to the game. Right? There's no rules. Fighting a lion one time
Once
a year.
a year?
Ready. Yeah, man, for real. I mean, the chicken's not gonna be. It's just gonna be annoying. Like
That's gonna be annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. Every day I'm seeing the chicken win. The lion, I'm having to train. I'm having to go through getting myself mentally, physically ready to see this lion again, right? And I know I'm gonna beat him because I'm doing it every year, right? So, but it's gonna be much more of a challenge.
Man, I don't think
I'm bringing my own weapons to the game. It's a wrap.
I don't think that lion sees a year two fighting anybody. I think it's just one fight, one time, and that lion's gonna kill, bro. That's what I would take the chicken. I'm doing the chicken every time.
Not me, man. Again, the fight's all about what kind of weapons you get to bring to the fighting ground. There's no rules to the fight.
That's true.
There's no rules. I'm not trying to go hand-to-hand combat with a lion. Now, if I had to, I would. But no, I'm having my own tools and arsenals to bring down this lion. It's fine. You know,
There was a
instead of him hunting me, I'm gonna be hunting him. Let's put it that way.
there was a movie that Idris Elba did where he
uh,
fought a lion called Beast. You seen that movie?
no, I didn't. I should
You
though,
ain't
but
seen
yeah,
it? It's a pretty
I
good
heard about it.
movie. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Idris Elba, so he's a beast, but he's good. But he fought a lion. The lion was hunting them, and he had to
yeah,
fight that lion.
yeah. I
Um,
didn't see it, but I'd be hunting the lion, man.
yeah,
That's totally different. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to understand. You know, I get it. When you're in their environment, you don't have the proper tools. You're subject to, get eaten up by that lion, unless
hmm
you are good at creating your own tools out of whatever resources you have around you. Then you're gonna be able to take that lion down, like straight up. It's just a big cat, you know. And even the little cats, I don't like dealing with little cats. Little cats scratch up, they could bite the hell out of you too. But if you got the right tools, a little cat, is it going to be any issues? But now we're talking about a big lion. Yeah, if you got the right tools, um, you become a hunter. We're the apex predators on this planet. We dominate. We've taken out giants and all that stuff.
yeah,
It's just about the mentality. We're the top of the food chain when you really think about it.
yeah.
So
Nah, that is true. If you could bring what you needed and you didn't have to use your bare hands, then yeah, that'd make me feel more comfortable about fighting a lion.
I'll be
Um,
hunting them.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so I wanted to talk about. I have on my list. I got the power of multiple streams of income, and what made me think about that is because I don't know if you heard about the Lake Shoreman strike, right? The dock workers going on strike.
Yes, I heard about it. Yeah.
So for y'all, for those that are watching that don't know, right? The Lake Shoremen, I believe, just off the back of my head, I could probably do some light research really quick. But the Lake Shoremen are, I think, it's the name of the uh, what is that? The union dock workers, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I forget the ports that are affected. I'm gonna look that up real quick, so I can get it right. The ports that were affected. So Lake Shoreman strike. I want to see what docks were affected by their strike, the ports that were affected.
14 of them. It
14
says the
ports?
strike. Yeah, it says Daniel. It says the strikes affects works at 14 ports along the east and Gulf Coast, according to the U.S. Maritime Alliance. There are ports of Boston, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Norfolk, Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa, Mobile, Alabama, New Orleans, and Houston. There's a lot of ports, bro. That's billions
So
of dollars imports into our country, man. Straight up.
bill $1 billion a day. That's what they're losing by those people being on strike.
Good
And
Lord.
and so with that in mind, I mean, just think about that. Like the ports getting goods is shut down. Like you're not getting access to those things because of these guys going on strike. And the reason they're going on strike is because the business owners and the companies made so much money, right? Billions upon billions of dollars. And especially during the COVID strike, specifically when COVID happened, I'm sorry, not strike, but when COVID happened and the shutdown of everything like that, they got a lot of uh, money from that, from the government and things like that. So they got a lot of money at that time. And the workers, their wage didn't increase. So now we're in
Okay.
2024. They're upset. They're on strike, and they were looking for. I want to say they're looking for. I want to say like an 84% or something like that increase, or 77% increase on their wages. I forget what the number was, and they told them no. So the company says no. So they go on strike. Right now,
Okay.
I bring that up because when you're on strike as a union, if I'm correct, when you're on strike as a union, you're not working. And as a union worker, when your union goes on strike, you go on strike too.
Yeah. It's like
So
mandatory, right?
Yeah. So there's no income, Paul. Like these guys are not making money going on strike. Yeah, you're doing it for a great reason and you want to see that increase in wages and they're going to get it. They're going to get something. Will it be what they're asking for? Probably not. You know, they may meet in the middle somewhere. So they're going to get something, right? So there's benefit to it.
They're scared too. They're seeing how technology is taking over their jobs, and so they're not able to, have um, sufficient pay because they're getting paid less. The automation is doing more, and then some of them are not even able to work because the job that they can do, a machine can do, and it might require what, 3 shifts, 4 shifts of people, 4 people for that one job, and that machine's going to be able to do it all night long with no break, no rest, and it's probably a one-time cost plus maintenance for the owners, right? Right, and last I checked, machines don't get healthcare benefits and social securities and bonuses and overtimes and all that. So, yeah, it's they want less automation on there. They just want to have technology deal with spreadsheets and time cards and whatnot. They're mad that cameras are being put up all over the place, and watching what they have to do, GPS trackers for the cars and for the workers. This is going on with a lot of industries, man, where AI and technology is just taking over jobs. So what's the alternative, Daniel? What do you think? What are people supposed to be doing then if AI is coming in and taking over their jobs? What's
I,
the solution?
I think, I don't know if I would say there's a solution. I would say there's things to make sure that you're okay while, life progresses because we're not going to get we're not going to be able to halt progress, and I don't think it's a good thing to halt progress, right? I don't want people to
Yeah,
think that AI is a bad thing because there's a lot of good that can come from it. I think that that's what made me put in my notes for us to talk a little bit about was multiple streams of income. I don't think that there's ever a plan that we can put into to action to make all of this better. I just think that as an individual, right? Someone told me this a while ago. I don't know if I told you this before in one of our many conversations, but someone told me this a while ago. They said, you know, as an employee at a company, you should treat yourself and move the way that these NBA players, athletes move. They move as individual entities, right? They kind of
yeah,
plan their career like they're a free agent, and they take their future in their own hands. And when you tie yourself down to a company, yeah, you can retire and get a pension, but now a lot of these companies are doing away with pensions, right? The city was going to do away with the pension a while back, and they increased the amount of years that you needed to before you could retire. It was 30 years, and they took it back to 20. It was 25 years before. They moved it up to 30 years. You had to be employed to get a pension, and then they moved it back down to 25 years because they couldn't do away with it. They didn't want to do away with it, but they were going to do away with the pension, right? They were going to do away with that. So that's why I wanted us to discuss multiple streams of income. I don't think you should set your sight on one thing and keep it there. I think that you should always be looking for ways, just like when it comes to investing, you want to diversify your portfolio, right? You don't want all your eggs in one
yeah.
basket. I don't think you should do that when it comes to your income as well, right? I think that you should
I
always try
agree.
to find different ways. And for other people, it may be you might feel like, oh, I'm not that creative. I don't have a great idea. And I'm not saying that you have to go out and start a business like the next person does or do what the next person, you know, does. But I think that should always be something in the back of your mind.
Yeah, and Daniel, I think everybody should try to become self-sufficient and start their own business. It gives them, and don't, I'm not saying everyone is capable of it. I'm not saying everyone does it, but that's just my thought process on it, man. I feel like the less you have to rely on someone else, a corporation, a job which can write you up 3 times for showing up late, all that good stuff, the less you have to rely on it. Even the government, the less you have to rely on the government is a good thing. Um, so, in some way or another, some form or another, I feel like everybody should try to find a way to be self-sufficient, and entrepreneurship is a backbone of being self-sufficient. So it, it's tough because you're gonna have to put in long hours, a lot more hours than um, you would if you were just doing a 9 to 5. A lot of
Mhm.
the industries that's involved in having your own business and having a side hustle doesn't really, come with a blueprint of how to do it too. So you got to just hit the ground running, figure things out for yourself, and that becomes hard when stability and security isn't there. It's out the window. Um, but yeah, I really do think everyone should try, at least try it.
Try
The
it.
try and the fail, right? That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
And to reiterate, I don't want to carry on, but I'm not saying quit your job. I believe 9 to 5s are there to help fund your dreams, fund your entrepreneurship, fund your business, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's a good. I'm glad you said that because I don't want people to just feel because sometimes we can hear something and we think that that's our call to action. Oh, we're gonna just leave the job. We're just gonna stop this and do that. And I don't think people ought to make spur of the moment decisions. I think that you still need
Right.
to think. Don't just
Yeah,
move
especially if you have
off of
mouths to
straight
feed.
excitement.
Especially if you have mouths to feed, it's probably not a wise
No,
idea to just cut off your stream of income. But
yeah,
like you were saying, multiple streams of income is where it's at. So if you're
multiple
9 to 5,
streams, bro.
right, you're
Yes,
gonna have to come up with
yes,
another. Unless you want to have two 9 to 5s, you're the business. There was a time where I was working 3 jobs,
yeah,
3 9 to 5s, because it's all. It has to be all in accordance of what kind of life you want to live.
hmm
Just do the math. If getting $14 $15 an hour is going to get you that car you want, the house you want, that the vacations you want, you're not obligated to have it. Some people are good at just making $14 an hour and just watching news all the time, and that's fine, if
hmm
that's what you want. But if you envision yourself and having a lifestyle that is going to require you to get more, more capital, more money in order to get that type of lifestyle, then you're gonna have to figure that out, and then majority of times, multiple sources of income is where it's at. The wealthiest people on the planet just really don't have one thing that they get in, their source of income from. So
yeah, yeah. And my brother always says this, Darwin. He always says, you jump out of a plane and build a parachute on the way down, and that's something that I've kind of like took personally within myself.
yeah, I
Not
see
everyone has
that.
to do
I
that.
see that.
That's
Yeah,
my personal. I don't suggest that anyone else does that. That's just my personal. I jump out of the plane and build a parachute on the way down because for me, right, and it comes with knowing and learning yourself. That's how I motivate, right?
yeah,
I motivate by getting my hands in there, getting dirty. That's how I motivate, right? And if
yeah.
I'm not touching it, if I'm not doing it, I get bored, right? I get bored, and then my ADHD kicks in, and then now I'm on something else. So I have to do that. That's why it was so dope when you bought this to me, and years later, right? And I just said, "Hey, this is what I want to do." I'm glad you started right away because that's how I work, right? And then
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, let's do it, Danny. We'll figure all that on the way." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool because that's right up my alley."
Yeah, you're
you
you're a
know?
serial entrepreneur yourself, right? So, and the thing is, a lot of us entrepreneurs, which most people probably don't know, we've tried more businesses than that failed than's been successful, right? So that's what it's all about, man. It's that guy that's out there trying to make it happen, trying to find what sticks is what is where is the guy that makes that money. Creatives don't want to sit in that box, right?
Nah.
That yeah, they don't have those rules that tell them, hey, you have to be here at a certain time, you have to do this at a certain way, and you have to make this happen a certain way, and that's where you probably fall into. You're creative. from being an artist to being a videographer, to doing logos and videos for people and setting up branding for people, commercials for people. That's a creative, even getting on the mic and having songs and tracks and producing and making beats and all that. Right? That's if that's not a creative, what is? You get
Right.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and that's beyond the hustle. Majority of those were beyond the hustle, man. That's what we do on our off time, and then it's like we turn that passion into something that makes us some money, right?
Yeah.
So because that's what
Um,
it's all about. Money's very important, man. Money's important.
no matter what they say.
Yeah, right.
Do you do you follow? Well, not do you follow, but you used to watch Pokemon back in the day.
Never watched
N-
Pokemon, man. I never have.
no.
No, no.
Oh
If it
man.
was a cartoon, it'd be some gorish type of cartoon, an anime, some Batman, some X Men. Um, no Pokemon. I used to collect comic books though, not Pokemon cards.
Um. Now see, that's me. That's my side. Like that's my geekish
Pokemon.
fanboy. Oh, dude, I used to have all the cards. Not all of them. Well, the first original 150 because they came out with originally 150 Pokemon. I knew all the evolutions. I knew all the cards.
Yeah.
I collected them. I watched the show. Played the games.
Did
Like
you keep them in
I
mint
was.
condition too? Did you keep the
It,
cards in mint condition?
I would have them in a binder, and they had to be like nice. If they had any creases, I would not trade them, or I would get rid of them. They had to be in mint condition, dude. Like I was that obsessive. I was that guy, and it got to a
Yeah.
point where they started dropping like. I wish I had some of those cards, man, because they're worth like thousands of dollars now. I think the most,
Yeah, mint condition.
yeah. But it got to a point where they dropped like the series where they're all like holographic or like not glitterish, but they had like how you can look in the sun and it changes colors. You're looking at
Yeah,
you're looking
yeah.
at
I get
something. Yeah, they were
kind of
all
like
like that. Like,
a hologram, the
yep,
hologram ones, right? The
they was like
inserts,
those.
right?
Yeah, yeah, they had them like
Mhm.
that, and I wanted to collect just all the holographic ones. So I had my binder full of those. But um, I say that to say there's this company called Pocket Pair, right? This company called Pocket Pair, and they released a knockoff version of Pokemon, but they had like their own monsters. They had their own little way of capturing the monsters and doing those type of things. They released this game called Power World. I don't know if you heard about the Power World epidemic. It was online. It was like extremely popular. It was an app, and they dropped the app, and the app did really well. It was really successful. It's probably it's the most successful Pokemon ripoff like ever. No one has ever done it as well as they did. Well, the app
Okay.
took off and did so well, they dropped a game version for like consoles, Xbox and PlayStation, whatever. So they dropped this game. It does really well. It was this small development company in Tokyo, I believe. And Pokemon and Nintendo teamed up, right? And this is major company. They have like thousands of employees. Pocket Pair has under 50 employees. It's that small of a game development company.
And they made
But
that
they
much of
released
an
this
impact.
made that much of an impact that Nintendo and
Wow.
Pokemon decided to file a patent suit against them. So it wasn't a suit against like copyright. It wasn't a copyright suit, even though I don't know if they had basis for a copyright suit, right? I don't know, but they didn't do a copyright suit, and so I'm not that much familiar in this. They did a patent suit. Now, what
Yeah.
they sued them for? What was you gonna say?
No, I was listening. I'm
So
listening.
it was a patent suit. So they sued them for in video games, right? And I'm a big gamer, so I don't like this, right? Because I'm a huge gamer and I feel like this stifles gaming development and growth and creativity. They sued them for patents. So in video games, you can patent the way a player moves or your game does a function, right? So Pokemon has a patent on the way you catch wild monsters. So the ball flies, hits the monster, it gets absorbed in the ball. how many bounces it does, how many times it shake before it's
Get
captured.
out of here.
Pokemon patent that. Yes. So
Are
they're
you saying
suing.
that they patent the process or the code that
Yes.
makes that happen? Is that what it is? The code,
Yes.
not the actual movement, but the code that makes it happen in the video game. Is that what you mean?
Right. Right. I
Because
guess
that
what's
I can understand. I can understand if you patent in a language or a code that makes something happen. That's your intellectual property. You're gonna have to come up with it on your own, or pay me some royalties on it, right?
so
But
that
if
that's what
it's some, yeah, but if it's something where it's like we're having similar moves, but it was my own coding, my own way of having it, then I don't see why you would be patented. You'd get in trouble for that.
that's what they patent. So I don't believe that Pocket Pair hacked their system or got the code from them, because I mean, unless you had access to their
I
server
wouldn't be
base,
surprised nowadays, man. No, man, everything's
I
out
don't know
there.
how you would get that. But so they had a patent on that. So in Power World, because I played Power World, right? I'm a gamer, I've played it. When you catch a wild monster, the ball doesn't shake. It has like a I guess a capture system that goes into a circle. And when the circle's
Okay.
filled up, you catch the POW. So it doesn't do what Pokemon does, but you still catch it inside of a sphere. So they're suing for that. They're suing for they had a patent on being able to ride your mount. So whenever you catch a Pokemon, I guess you can ride it now. I didn't know that, but in Power you can ride your mount. So they're suing for that. They're suing for this is the probably the craziest one to me. They're suing them for the way you take care or raise your pal and encourage good behavior and habits from your pal and
Is
to
that
wake up
similar to
and go to
Pokemon?
sleep.
Pokemon there too?
I have no idea. I don't know if Pokemon. Well, I know in the games before they would encourage you to take care of your Pokemon.
Yeah. So
So they're
and
suing
in the
them
cartoons too, right? And I
for
see like
yeah,
the cartoons, you're taking care of it and all. So
yeah.
it might not only just be a patent; it might just be intellectual property where they're just like
I don't
copying the same
know.
that they're doing, and that can be that's kind of like if I come up with you know a Ricky Mouse, you know, and a skinny mouse and Ricky Mouse, right? And have it in a assault Izzy world or something, assault Disney world, right? And then I'm trying to put it out like that, right? And the same type of thing with Snoopy and Raspy Duck or something, where it's all similar to the
Yeah.
same like that can be, you know, something where you could take to court.
So that's why. So if they were suing for copyright,
But it's
but
just patents.
it's patent, and that's why I said. So that's what
Patents, in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken, they're public record too, right?
are they?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can see all the patents out there, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look. Let me see. Are patents public record? Give me a second.
So
Talk
so
about
while you're
that.
doing that, I want to say this, and for those that are watching too. So like for me, being a gamer, and as much as I love video games, the reason why I have a problem with this suit, right? It's one or two things. The first one is you're this major company, and I don't believe that it was based on something that, oh, you guys stole from us. We want to keep the integrity in the gaming industry. I don't believe it was based off of that. I believe that Pokemon saw that they had a nice competitor because and y'all can comment, let me know what y'all think. I don't think Pokemon been dropping anything great as far as the game wise in maybe 5-10 years. There was no the competition, and I think competition is healthy because it keeps you bringing something new to the marketplace, and I don't believe they had that. So Power World comes
Well,
out, they make a game, and it makes a lot of noise, doing things
mhm.
that you didn't do with Pokemon. That if you would have done, right, that's what the fans wanted. So some fans got together, said, "Yo, we've been wanting
Nah,
to do this
man.
with Pokemon, and y'all didn't do it," and they did it, and they did it well.
Yeah, but Daniel, if they're doing suing for patents, patents are public record. So they got their information, they got their likeness, they got their moves and techniques if they're suing for patents, and they used it. I'm not saying that they that's what allegedly happened. In other
Right.
words, right? So they
Right.
got to prove that it is that, you know, that situation. But yeah, it's public records, and if they're suing for patent, they might have illegal grounds in order to do that, or they wouldn't be wasting their time and money. And I would assume a solution would be, hey, you know, we're going to absorb this company, pay you guys to get this thing rolling, or the judge and all the, you know, finance and legal teams will figure out a percentage to pay Pokemon and
Yeah.
Nintendo based off of using their patent. And that's what royalties is all about. Is like, hey, here's a percentage of a profit that we made. Thank you for letting us use your patent in order to get this to be a successful video game. And that's probably why they're suing. They're like, hey, you use our patent, you use our you know, techniques in order to make you a successful business without asking us permission. So, you know, give me what's rightfully mine. Because
Give us some
without
money.
it, you would, yeah, without it, you wouldn't have made it happen.
See, and so that and this is, so I have a problem with that. For it. Okay, if they did something, okay, yeah, cool, you got a patent, you can do it. The reason why I don't like, for me, right? The reason why it's a problem for me being a gamer is because, to me, it stifles what you can do in gaming, because I didn't know this, right? So this patent lawsuit really got me researching these things. There was this company, Calapico, Calapi, I could be butchering them, whatever. They had a patent. They had a patent on touch response in their video game. They patented being able to touch your screen and play a game, right? Nintendo came around and was like, you guys can't have that patent. And they sued them, and they won because they wanted to come out with the Nintendo DS, because DS was the touch, right? Before DS, you didn't have that touch. Nintendo sues
Okay.
them. Now we have it, right? It's evolved. It's now our cell phones. We can play touch video games on cell phones. It moved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they had that. There was another company, I forget the name of the company, that had a patent on being able to engage with your AI on an emotional standpoint in a video game, right? Being able to, I'm sorry, emotional emotes in video games. There was a company that had that patent. Nintendo comes around. They're like, no, you guys aren't going to have that because we want to be able to use it. They used it. They did it. They won the
What?
lawsuit.
So are you saying Nintendo stopped them from getting patents?
So they had a patent for it, right? Because it wasn't ethical for them to have to control that, right? So Nintendo uses it. The company files a suit against Nintendo, and Nintendo's like, no. So they win the lawsuit, right? And the court. I don't know
Yeah.
how they were able to win that, but they ended up winning that suit.
Sounds like Nintendo got some people in the courts to help them out or something, you know? Like,
Nintendo, but they're a big company. That's the reason
yeah,
why I said
man,
that,
they've been
Paul.
around since the 80s.
A long
Bro, for
time,
real.
bro. And that's why I have a problem with this, because I didn't know video, because I was wondering, I'd be playing video game and I'm like, why can't you do this? Like, this game should be able to do this like this game, but it's like they can't. So the game don't really hit like it could because there's all these patents all over the place. That's why I said it stifles creativity. There's no innovation. And then there's, for me being a consumer right on the outside looking in, I want to be able to do certain things with these games. And if someone
Yeah.
has a patent, or if someone's controlling it, and if there's no healthy competition like 2K, a lot of us are falling off of 2K because NBA 2K don't have a competition. They just giving this crappy game over and over again because NBA Live doesn't create video games anymore. So there's no competition in that space. And when you don't have competition, Paul, you already know what happens.
You think
And
2K is whack?
I don't think it's whack, but I don't think it's as great as it could be, because
Okay.
if you look at even people online and streamers and gamers, a lot of people fell off of 2K25.
And so what do they go to then?
I don't play no NBA right now, so I don't have my basketball fixed. So I don't have my sports fixed, man. So I went to
Oh
hockey.
man, is that
I play
bad?
I play hockey. bro, it's just the game, in my opinion, just hasn't. It's just not. It's
It's
just
lost
not.
creativity or something.
Just yeah, because they keep pulling out and doing the same things over and over again. Maybe change a couple things here or there, but a lot of it's the same template.
Yeah,
You know.
that's why I stopped playing that game too. I used to be a big 2K head. I used to first be a NBA Live head, and NBA Live was where it was at, and until and even when 2K came out, 2K was garbage compared to NBA Live at first, until it came out on the I think it was the Sega Genesis. Then it was just blowing NBA Live out the water, and for years it maintained that that monopoly of everybody wanting to just go straight to 2K,
Mhm.
until the inevitable happened to NBA Live, and they just ran out of business. So
And
yeah,
live, they're supposed to be
I agree with you. Every year it just was the same thing over and over again. The only
yep,
thing that changed was the rosters, right?
the
The
rosters.
players traded. That's about it. After a while, I mean, it kept getting better as the years progressed, and then it
Yeah.
got to a plateau where it's just like, okay, how much better can you really get? After you do,
Mhm.
all the realness and likeness of all the NBA athletes out there, you can't really get better than the realistic moves and everything. But the only thing changed from there was just the rosters, and they started adding, features in there just to make it somewhat of a difference, like that my league or my player, where you
Yeah.
get the player make it better and stuff. And that's when I stopped. I stopped when all that stuff came in because it wasn't as fluid as it used to be for me. You had to get all these points and play hours and hours and hours and hours just to get your player to be one of the top players out there. And I didn't want to wait that long because you know what I'm saying. I didn't want to have to start fresh a player every year and all this stuff. It was just not my cup of tea. So
No.
I stopped playing
I
it.
and I like competition, and that's why like even with a lot
Yeah,
that I do, um, I like competition. And so what I always say is that I want to be better or I want to do something better than the way it was before.
yeah,
When I started to sit down, right, and the sit down is a talk show that I have for people that don't know. I have a talk show called The Sit Down, and I started to sit down out doing just a Facebook Live. It was just a live when I started a talk show, and from a live, it went on to being a fully produced show. And everything that what I will always tell myself is I want to drop the next episode better than the episode that it was before. So I was
yeah.
competing with my latest release, right? So I
Correct.
had different shows and different things. People had different talk shows. Joe Button pull up. Joe Button is a huge inspiration. Was a huge inspiration for the talk show with the pull up, and now even Shannon Sharp with Club Shay Shay. Huge inspirations I draw for those guys. Not to say that that's where my competition is, right? But they inspire me to continue moving, right? And
Right.
getting better. But I was competing with what I previously released. So the competition was with myself, and having that competitive drive, that itch, that's what propels you to do great things. That's what leads you to a whole different level of success. You start seeing more because you're in competition. I think competition is a healthy thing. And America being a country that thrives on capitalism, right? It's a capitalistic society. I think sometimes with these larger companies, by them wanting to push out all the competition, you do your customers or those that you are supposed to be in service to, you do them a disservice because the product isn't as great. It doesn't come as frequent. You're not trying to improve your product. You're trying to cut costs, right? So we want to try to do things with as less cost as possible because we want to save money for our salaries, right? So you try to
Yeah.
find different ways to cut costs, and I feel like that's what they do. Um, and
Yeah. A lot.
as an entrepreneur and doing what I do, and even anyone out there that's watching, like when you are doing something, being competitive is not a bad thing. because competition, it allows you to say, hey, listen, I want to deliver something better. I want to deliver something great. If Kobe wasn't as competitive as he was, like, we wouldn't be able to see that greatness. If LeBron wasn't as competitive, Jordan, anyone, uh, any type of sport like that. And there's ways to be competitive even in what you do, right? With tax money, like, if you didn't have that competitiveness about you, then you wouldn't be able to look at what someone else is doing and say, oh, listen, I want to do this a little like this. I want to do this like that, right? But having that
Yeah,
competitive itch to you, it kind of forces you to deliver a better product.
it does. It does, and it goes back to what I was saying. Like even when you, which is usually the mindset of an entrepreneur when you even working a 9 to 5, and you always see things that you can do to make the company better that you're working for, right? You're like, oh
Yeah.
man, if I was running this company, I would do this, I would do that. It's not only a competition mode, but it's always just wanting to get the best out of yourself and the company that you're working for to give people the best service, available, right? Or even the workers, people who are working there. Hey, this should be better for us workers. This should be a better way for us to make this work in harmony for everyone to get the best productivity possible. But that most definitely, competition is it's where it's at. A lot of these companies, what they do with the other companies that they're in competition with, if they're smart, they absorb them, right? They make them join their company. They buy them, right, and absorb them into their company. So that's why you see a lot of companies do mergers with each other, because they might be good at this part of the industry better than that part of the industry that this company can do. So why don't we increase our profit and merge into um, one company, right? And that's what they usually do. And that would be something that I would have thought Nintendo and Pokemon would have did with the company that you were talking about with 50 people. Hey, why don't we take your 50 and join ours? And here's what kind of money we're going to give you, since I seen you guys made this much money with just 50 you guys and the resources that you have. We're Nintendo, a big company. Here, let me give you this. And they probably did come up to them and approach them that way. And they were like, nah, man, we're not having that, right? We're not having that. And they're like, oh, you're not? Okay. Yeah, you hear from our lawyer. Hey, but give me a second, Danny. I gotta charge this phone. If you can give me 1 second. Competition's where it's at, man. I'm always competing with myself. Because I competing with other people too helps you create that mental toughness. It helps you gauge in the reality of where you're at, and where you could be and where you should be. Give me a second. But um, it is definitely a healthy thing, man. Competition is definitely a healthy thing, and this country right now is at a point where um, they're trying to make it seem like it's taboo, and that's what builds strength. It's like Darwinism, man. That's what builds a tight clique is people who compete with each other too. And keep each other on their toes, right?
I think
Yeah, I'm
sometimes
listening.
we can look at competition, or people look at competition like it's a bad thing. I don't want to be competitive. And even with the whole participation trophies that they give kids, and you try to build such an inclusive culture or society that you rule out anything else. And I'm not saying that inclusion is a bad thing, but I think sometimes inclusion could be weaponized in a way to where now, or it could be spun in such a way to where anything that goes against that grain, it's a problem, right? So
Yeah.
anything that you can say you're not being inclusive because you say this, and I want competition, or where you're not being inclusive, or I want something different outside of what you want. Now I'm not being, and I think sometimes that could, when you try to weaponize and you try to place agendas and all these things, now it's a problem to try to do that. And I'm a fan of a lot of industries, right? I'm a gamer. I love games. I'm a fan of competitive sports. I love MMA, and those type of things. So I like that competition component, and without that, you don't get good products, right? I'm a fan of hip hop and rap. So when Kendrick is coming at J. Cole and Drake, as a rap fan, as a fan of hip hop, I'm like, yeah, right. I don't want to see them uh, hurt each other, harm each other, anything like that. But I'm a fan of the healthy competition because I'm like, yo, we gonna get some good Drake music. We gonna get some fire J Cole music. We gonna get some good Kendrick, bars because of the competition. And if the competition
Who do you
isn't
think
there,
won that competition? Who do you think won between
who
Kendrick
who do
Lamar?
I know won?
Yeah.
Kendrick all day, bro. K Dot, he beat him, man. And
Do you think
I'm a
you think Kendrick is better than Drake?
okay. I Drake, in my opinion, makes better songs and music, right?
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah, I agree.
Kendrick, Kendrick has better when it comes to the conscious side and storytelling, right? He does
Yeah.
that better, and he has better wordplay, I guess I want to say, right? I think Kendrick has better wordplay. Drake makes better songs, or he makes more hot or catchy, trendy, Billboard songs. So it's hard to
Yeah.
compare them as
Even if
artists. I
even if
think
even if Drake doesn't write his music, because I heard about that. He doesn't write his music, and he's an
okay,
actor, and he's not real to the culture and all that. But to me, I think he's a better artist than Kendrick Lamar. I mean, I've never heard of Kendrick Lamar until he went at Drake. To be real with
are
you,
you
like
serious?
I'm dead serious. I'm not into the hip hop like that,
Wow.
the hip hop or rap industry
Okay.
like that.
All
But
right.
but everywhere I've been, everywhere I've gone, all the girls talk about is Drake, right? And that made that,
Yeah.
and I think he's making more money than them anyway, right? So
Definitely. Definitely.
yeah, so yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I think Drake is okay, and it allowed Kendrick to get in the limelight for him to go at him, which was probably a smart decision from
Yeah.
his management team and all that. Like, hey, you got to go at the guy on top in order to get some buzz, and I think that's what he did, and I think he did it effectively because it did create that
Yeah.
buzz.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of Kendrick Lamar until he did come at Drake, and then people started playing his music in the clubs and bars and on TV, right? In the basketball game halftime, you'd hear it. But yeah, I think
He
Drake still is ahead in that, in my opinion.
he definitely and and I don't know, man, what people are gonna say about this. So Drake definitely made the better songs in that battle. He definitely
Yeah,
made the better songs all day. Like Drake is better at creating songs. Like he's better at that. There's a reason why he's Billboard Top 100 time and time again. There's a reason why he's a he's one of the highest selling artists right now because he's great at that. We want to talk about pop. Pop music is more popular than, well, that's why it's called pop, right? It's more commercial than hip hop or rap. Kendrick is straight hip hop. Kendrick is straight rap, bro. Like, and that's the genre. Kendrick has also won multiple Grammys. He has more Grammy wins than Drake. But then again, you can't always gauge it by Grammys, right? So, you know, Drake is more popular as an artist, well, because of the style of music that he makes. So, but when you're talking about rap and hip hop, that's why that was not a great idea for Drake. Because when you're talking about rap battle hip hop fans, you're not gonna win that Drake that hip hop or battle rap
man.
against
Drake's
Kendrick.
still gonna win. Drake's still gonna win the models, the girls, the freaking
Still,
limelight.
yeah, yeah,
I've heard Kendrick Lamar songs. I don't even like his voice, to be real, of
yeah,
him even rapping and stuff. He's not pleasant. For if I'm out there, and I'm trying to whine and have a good time, I'm up in a Kendrick Lamar. That's not really
nah,
but I can hear myself listening to some Drake songs, and again, he probably didn't even make the songs, and Kendrick probably sat there and wrote every line himself, right? But
right,
regardless, it's just he's much more commercialized. He's much more out there than makes better songs than, like you said, right?
yeah,
Than
he
Kendrick
does.
Lamar. But yeah, he
And
did right.
see,
He did a good job to increase his record sales by going after Drake. That's the whole point,
you
right? He wanted to
See,
get some of that pie.
yeah, and Kendrick knew he was going to win that. I think hip hop knew that Kendrick was going to win that based off of that sheer fact, right? Because Kendrick is a battle rapper, and so when you talk
Yeah,
about it, when you're battling, it's not about who can make the best sounding record when you're doing a rap
Kendrick,
battle,
leave Drake alone so that he can make songs to make the girls dance. Kendrick, leave him
right?
alone. All
So,
right, come on, man.
and I'm gonna tell you like
That's what
this:
I want to see.
Drake losing that battle to Kendrick did nothing to Drake
Right,
because he's Drake. Like it's you're not gonna. He's still gonna go out and make the sales. It didn't tarnish. The only thing it did was throughout hip hop, and maybe if you want to talk about the streets, whatever, he kind of lost a lot of the black credibility. Um, but at the end of the day, that's not gonna
man.
affect your
I never
sales.
even thought Drake had
He's
any type of credibility. He was on
he did
Nickelodeon. He was an
he did
actor on
well.
Nickelodeon. Like, come on now. What kind of? He's a light skinned dude. Come on now. What kind of street cred Drake has? He was rapping when he was like a teenager. You really street where when you get being taken care of and living in mansions from your Nickelodeon days. Like, come on now. That's not street. That's like saying what's his name? Orlando Brown is street. That's not street. I mean, you've been on TV since you was a kid. How are you street, right? Come on now.
See,
The
when you
street credit you really have just because you rap about shooting people and being in the street doesn't make you street.
no,
It's
it
not.
don't. That's why Kendrick Lamar, if you listen to the beef, that's why Kendrick did that whole him going to Atlanta rap scheme, because he was hooking up with Future, he was hooking up with Wayne, he was hooking up with Ross and those guys to give him that street credibility. That's what kind of put him in
Right.
that community. So that's what he had. That's why I say I think the only thing Kendrick did was just tell him, hey, listen, as far as like the black nine. Then he told him, I even hate the way that you say the word nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like he basically
Yeah,
was
man.
was was
I'm just
pulling
from a
that
different time. I'm
card
just from
from
a
him.
different time, and a lot of these guys who are really street, they might make some music or whatever, but you'll never see any real street guys in on pop winning the Grammys. You never see real
Right.
street guys doing that. That's all. It's all show. I mean, if you look at the history of Tupac, he was an actor before he became a rapper. They just
Yeah.
turned him into a gangster rapper. He wasn't really
Yeah.
street. He wasn't out there. Come on now, these guys are acting, and they're looking for those type of people who they can manipulate and create that image, to influence the culture of people. But these guys aren't real street. Real street guys are not gonna get on the microphone and start telling you what's going on. That's not how it is. They got a lot of other stuff to be dealing with than doing that type of stuff, man. Yeah, they're not trying to be hippity hoppity and make rhymes
No,
happen. It's not that type of lifestyle for real
it's
street
not that.
guys. There's people that can play the real street role and rap about the street life and all that. There's some street guys that are going to take away from them if they made it into the music business, but
Yeah.
it's not at what that's a small slim percentage that happens, and they're not winning Grammys, like real talk.
Yeah.
It's just that's not. They're doing it to get out of the street, not to be out there in the street and trying to get these street creds. They already have that. You're not going to be hearing about them, saying that they're mimicking my life and this and that. It's not. That's not where it's at. It's all fake. It's just like watching a movie, of
Yeah.
Denzel playing a gangster. You're gonna think he's a gangster. You're gonna think he's a street person because he's making the moves like it. But they're not gonna put it out there if it's real like that. Now I know that's past my time because I've not been in the music things like that. But I've heard of these drill guys that are rapping about their
And
street life
yep.
and stuff
Yep.
like that. But that's stupid. Okay, that's
That
stupid.
is
That's
very
what you
stupid.
call dumb. Yeah, that's what you call dumb street guys, not smart street guys. That's
No,
stupid street
God
guys.
no.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. In my
These
opinion, don't
guys are
knock on. Hey, don't come at me for letting you know how what I think. I'm just from a different era where we weren't making videos and taking cameras and talking about the things that people do. That was just not if you were okay. So, yeah, this
and that's
generation is weird.
that's these guys now, man. They're making this, and I think that that's what drill has done. That's why I said I don't want to see these guys really hurt themselves, right? I don't want to see these guys really do that. But I love the healthy competition. I love competition if it could be done in a healthy manner where it's not destructive, right? And it's not damaging
Yeah,
anybody. I like competition in that aspect to where you can use it to deliver a better product, a better service, bring out a different or a better part of yourself, right? That's gonna like help out, your family, help yourself out, your family, get your family out of type of things, and impact the community in a positive way. I like competition from that aspect, right? Um,
yeah.
so that's the reason why with this whole Diddy trial, bro, with this whole Diddy trial, right? And even people in the industry being afraid to even talk about this guy. I was just reading something, matter of fact, today, and how this dude got hit with a new wave of 120 new sexual assault allegations. So we don't know if
Woo!
that's true or not, but he got hit with that, and that's from NBC, right? That's from NBC,
Yeah.
and um, and the celebrity people that are even afraid to talk about him because of what he has done and who Diddy is, right? And I was talking to one of my homeboys about this other day. I don't ever want to see anybody have to go through something like that, right? From that standpoint. But for me, if you're doing something that harmful and you're being that, detrimental to the community, bro, you deserve to go. And I know people may feel different ways about it because it's not like, I don't know if I told you this. This is not like the little people won, right? This is a
Right.
big fish who's getting taken out by a bigger fish for whatever reason, right? So it's
Oh
not
yeah.
like the little people are winning. So it's kind of like a love hate thing going on, because it's just a change of the guards. Because if Diddy goes, someone else is going to be there doing the same thing, right? If you're being
Yeah.
that evil to people, and to me, Diddy even he just looks evil. Like I don't even know if what's true
Oh
or not.
yeah, man. I was
He just
never I
looks
was never
evil.
a Diddy fan, but yeah, Diddy was way before his time when it comes to drill rapping and stuff. He didn't talk about what he did, but I'm pretty sure he did things behind the scene. That's some street with involves him to get a lot of street cred. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
yeah, yeah, Diddy's kind of like a ringleader and stuff. I never, my opinions on, and it's just my opinion, is because during that time I used to like the music and the culture, Biggie Small Time, it was like 20 years ago type of deal.
Yeah.
And immediately after Biggie died, he started making some money off of it. That kind of raised some alarms in my head, right? Because if my boy, a friend of mine, or someone close to me dies, I'm not going to try to capitalize off of him and his death. And so that kind of, I'm not sure, I know there's allegations about it and stuff. That just never sat well with me. But
That's gonna bring me to what I wanted to say before we get out of here. You said being a rapper and being in the entertainment space, that is a form of entrepreneurship because they are entrepreneurs. They
right,
are a business. Their name, that artist, that is a brand. 50 Cent, the rapper, that's the business, right? G
right,
Unit, the label, that was just another business. Then G Unit, the clothing line, that was just another business. So even in sports, the athlete, LeBron James, the person, that's the business, right? Because like you said, they have to be in front of the camera, they have to have an image. That's a brand image. If the image isn't well, right, then the brand loses money, right? It's just like you brought up Orlando Brown. His public image is tainted. So him, Orlando Brown, as the business, he doesn't get the movie deals. He doesn't get the recognition, the spotlight because him, the person, right? And that's hard, right? You know, even with my business, with me, Daniel Tatamy, I have these things, but they're all in the entertainment space, right? The music, the talk show, the gamer. I just started the streamer, uh, Twitch, Danny So Wraith. So hey, y'all go to Twitch and watch
Yeah.
that. And then the music. That's the image, right? So and then even with Tatamy Productions, so yeah, it's Tatamy Productions, but who goes out and liaison for Tatamy Productions? It's Daniel Tatamy, right? So if my image isn't
Right.
what it needs to be, all those things take a hit. So I want to ask you this, Paul, because we beyond the hustle, right? And as entrepreneurs, we want to take what we do beyond just the every hustle. So what is something that you would what's some advice that you would have or something that you would say of how a person could take that vision, that dream, or whatever they want to do and move it beyond a hustle to where it's now sustainable, right? It might not be making
Yeah.
the money that we want at the time, but there's things in place to keep it going so it can grow to where it's making enough money to feed our families. And now we're making enough money. Now we can take that money and invest in something else to create another stream of income.
Okay. Well, I would say first off, just to end off with the entertainment world and actors and all that stuff. The world doesn't need that many actors and all and rappers. We had enough. We don't need that many LeBron James. We don't need everyone to be a basketball player, a football player, or a rapper, or a dancer, or MC, or baseball, or whatever. The world needs more engineers and people who can figure out how to make this world a better place. I'd just be trying to find some way to help someone creating a business to carry old people's groceries inside their house or something. You get what I mean? Like, it would be just the essence of what I am as a person is helping people. That's what I find satisfaction in, right? Because once when call it egotistical, call it being selfish, but when I see someone literally being helped, it makes me feel better.
That's a good piece of advice. And I want y'all to take that, like really solve a problem. If you're able to really solve a problem, and after that, then we can get into the conversation of how do you package that, how do you put it out there, how do you make it look good, what type of story you need to tell to be able to get clients, and for that, y'all can book a consultation. But
Yeah, most definitely. I would love to help if they need any help when it comes down to taxes or even investments. I love helping people reach their investment goals in real estate
yeah,
and reaching their goals in taxes, starting new businesses up, whether it's becoming an entrepreneur or just wanting to provide services for people or want to save money for yourself or invest money for yourself from that 9 to 5 that you're working. I like being a part of that goal reaching scenario of helping people reach their goal and attain their goals in life. It's a memorable time for them, and I like being that type of person where they want to tell their family about me and friends about me, because if I help them out, there's a possibility, a major strong probability and possibility that I can help them out too. So it's a satisfaction where I wish everyone got to feel, man. And if you're that hard working person and you're working hard to help a person's goal, or like you said, feed people. McDonald's worked mad hard to feed over 1 billion people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at where they ended up. So yeah,
No, that's right.
it comes down to the essence of people for me, Daniel, man. I think that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
We were created to serve, to serve, God, whatever religion that you believe in. But then, we are also here to serve each other.
I appreciate you guys for checking out this episode. We're gonna have way more Beyond the Hustle coming. So man, y'all stay tuned, stay up to that. Yeah, man. This was dope, man.
It up with you, man, for real.
Yeah. We definitely got it. We're definitely gonna do it again. We're gonna be back with more Beyond the Hustle. And you guys stay tuned. Thank y'all so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And we'll see y'all next time. All right.